especially when it comes to new content, new ways of scaring people, embracing new ideas. There are a lot of haunted houses out there that have been doing it the same way for a long time. Horror is fantasy. It's escapism. There's a reason why the horror genre was born in the Depression. You know, why Universal's classic horror films, Dracula, Frankenstein, The Wolfman, Mummy, all those films were born in the Depression because people needed escape.
In the early 1900s, a lot of American amusement parks couldn't afford to build a roller coaster, and instead they'd go for the cheap thrills and build a haunted house.
The JC's, the Junior Chamber of Commerce.
Lord bless this food that I'm about to eat. May I ask that always keep me healthy and strong? Lord, thank you for keeping me working like you're in all these years. And may I ask that I continue working there many more years to come. Lord, help me through my financial issues and vehicle issues and health issues and whatever problems that I cure. Please help me, Lord Jesus. I'm doing the best I can. Amen. I love you, Lord Jesus.
And here in Livonia, Michigan, these enterprising JCs ran 20 to 30,000
these are the fries from my
this house.
Friday night fish dinner, shrimp dinner.
They did them for fundraisers then, and they still do them to this day.
So I'll start out with these first.
What a lot of people don't realize is an evangelical Christian group called Youth for Christ was one of the biggest influences on haunting. They started Campus Life Haunted Houses.
The first haunt I ever went to was something called Campus Life. And I remember being just terrified of going through that.
It was Campus Life that created a lot of the standard elements that are found in haunted attractions today.
They did the checkered rooms, they did the surgery scene, they did the clowns.
And this was an effort to get youth more involved with the church.
When I went through that and came out the other side, I was like, wow, that's what I want to do. I want to create haunted attractions.
In the mid to late 80s to early 90s, Knott's Scary Farm was Halloween.
In 1973, Knott's Berry Farm became the world's first theme park haunt.
They changed the whole theme park over for Halloween to a Halloween event.
Tried and true traditional haunted houses that you've seen forever, they're the ones that are the most successful, and they're the ones that are going to continue to be successful.
So it's kind of crazy. I'm basically like a professional 10-year-old. I get to do what I dreamed of doing as a kid, only I do it on the biggest stage in the world for this type of event.
John Murdy is living my personal dream. He started off as a home haunter. He is now the creative director for Universal Halloween Horror Nights, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the best in the country. His work is a tremendous inspiration to me. The man should be knighted, as far as I'm concerned.
My favorite haunt would be Universal. You know, I mean, how do you beat those guys, right? You know, you got the sets, you got the production value, and I love all that stuff. I'm a sucker for all the bells and whistles. And just imagine what you can do with their sets and props, but turning it into an extreme scenario. That's what I think about when I go through.
We go to a haunted house, we confront our biggest fears. It makes us feel confident, like we overcame. There's so many things in this world that we can't control. Very big things that we can't control, like economic failure, terrorism, war.
September 11th, thoughts definitely arose at Knott's. Are people going to be in the mood for Halloween? And the guests flooded the gates. The park sold out.
2003 was the first time most people had ever seen any real-life torture. And it changed the horror genre. Saw, James Wan's first film, would go on to produce one of the largest horror franchises today. From there, we saw the birth of torture porn. After Gitmo and waterboarding came to light to the vast American public, we saw Hostel, which took it to another extreme level with detailed, realistic violence.
We grew this event, by the way, in the recession, the worst economic crisis this country's seen since the Great Depression.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
And I remember reporters coming up to me and going, you know, what's scarier, Halloween Horror Nights or my 401k?
I'm Robert Davis, and I'm a member of the United States Air Force, and I built a haunted house for service members. This was my first time doing a haunt in a war zone, and, I was kind of curious how people would react. It turns out that people act the same as they would if they were back stateside. They want some relief. It gives them an opportunity, again, to deal with it, to process it in a different way than, just sitting in a room thinking about, oh my God, I saw something really bad. We have a lot of people come up at the end, and they really thank us for putting this together because it gave them an opportunity to let loose and feel like they weren't in an undisclosed location in Southwest Asia for the night.
I think it can be a healing experience even for some people, but potentially very dangerous as well if you don't know what you're signing up for.
The first extreme haunt was Blackout. Blackout was completely different than anybody else's haunt.
A lot of these things that we have been seeing in the media and then that we were seeing portrayed in these torture porn films, they were doing to the patrons.
So many of the people that came in the very beginning of the run were really genuinely like, I don't believe that there's an experience that I'm going to pay for that's going to humiliate me and make me feel bad and rip my clothes and try to fuck me up. But there we were.
I've been to haunted houses my entire life, years on end. There's nothing like this one.
Blackout is an immersive horror experience that's designed for people to walk through by themselves. You're alone the whole time. Confront really basic fears.
I think they were the first ones to use naked people.
There's one little part where you crawl through a space and there's a naked guy chasing you, which was very disturbing.
There's a reason we use nudity. It strips away any artifice that could possibly take place between you and the person standing in front of you. Because all of a sudden, the audience member sort of looks you up and down and they're like, that's not fake. What are you going to do to me?
I think it's the dream of wanting to be in a horror movie.
You have to do things in there that I've only dreamt of doing. Things that I would lose my marriage over. Things that would put me in jail for the rest of my life. I just got to do a Blackout. Kind of feel like showering, but like holding myself in the shower. You know what I'm saying? Like curling up into like a little ball.
Not what I expected. Totally awesome. I think they could have made it a little bit more intense.
I would love to bring like the pledges here for like a night. That would be fun for them. That'd be a good time. They'd shit their pants for sure. It's an immersion in perversion, sex, killing, and true theater.
Because people spend so much, especially young people, spend so much time looking at a screen, most of their phones, that suddenly live events are like taking on new life because it feels so different. And you can talk about it on the screen. You can say that you did this or you survived that in a funny way. Social media has made live events more prevalent than they used to be.
When they go through, the audience members have a safe word. The safe word is safety.
As soon as you hear a safe word, you're like, that gets you excited because it's like sex and violence. You're just like, ooh, safe word, or can I make it through?
I just yelled the safety word in Blackout after 15 seconds because I was so scared.
All they need to do is call it. And the show will stop.
Does Victim Experience have a safe word?
Yes.
Does?
There's only one.
Does Freakling Brothers have a safe word?
They all do.
Just one.
The Canyon Manor does not have a safe word. That's just weak.
No! I can't do this! Please let me out! Oh my God! I can't see anything! Get me down!
I think that if they had a safe word here, they would use it right away. Because I don't think that they realize what they've gotten themselves into.
And once you get through that gate, you're his. And you're going to do whatever he says. Because you're not going to get out of the house until you do. And I know what they're trying to do. I know what they're trying to do. But the way that they're doing it, by it's physically abusing the people. Even though they say they're not, and they're fine afterwards. You know, when a cat plays with a mouse, when the mouse is dead, there's no more fun in it. That's how I like to haunt. I like to keep my mouse alive. My mouse can get out at any point, get away from me, move on,
But while I'm there, I have them. I'll play with them. I'll do what I want. But at any point, they could get away from me. I'm never going to put somebody in a position where they can't get away. What's the fun in that?
It's not just scaring people. You have to scare them right so the camera can see it, because the camera is what makes the movie. What makes the movie is what makes the fans.
He works on those videos, it seems like 24/7, and so I constantly hear screaming all night long.
But I've spent so many hours with them. It's like they're my new best friends. The guests are the actors. They are my stars, because each person that goes through, I'm basically editing in my mind. I'm trying to get the shot I want. I want the angle I want. My favorite shot is up close and personal, 2 to 3 inches from your face. That's how we can see the fear in your eyes. So I have to get real fear. It's taking them to the ledge and tossing them off and laughing as they cruise down that hill at 100 miles an hour. It's actually very PG-13. Although it's kind of R-rated in the sense that of the violence level.
This isn't just a haunt. This is an experience. It's not going to scare you. It's going to scar you.
Safety is always paramount. No one's ever been hurt.
Didn't someone have a heart attack?
Yeah, besides a heart attack victim, yeah. Yeah, we did have one heart attack.
What's your worst fear about what could possibly go wrong here?
Oh, God. Want me to put that on film?
Folks, of course, they have panic attacks, and things do happen. I do want you guys to have really good improv skills. When they throw up, what do? You pick up their throw up and you put it back in their face. That's what you do. Or you put it back in their mouth, and what happens? They're going to throw up again. Now that sounds gross, right? But it makes for some killer footage.
And I think that's very fascinating, because art, as my father, who's a painter, has told me, it's not so everybody likes it.
After I'm dead and gone, those films are going to be circling the internet still, causing all kinds of hate and discontent. And how cool is that?
I don't like you anymore, Russ. You can't be my friend anymore. No, you're not. You would have let me go, and I was fucking serious, too. Pushing you to conquer your fears.
I mean, is it a control issue? Is it about power? Is it fun to see people freaked out and screaming? And I mean, what kind of person does that?
I first got involved in the McKinney Manor down the street here at a park where Russ was DJing, and he announced, hey, we need actors for Haunted House. We're always looking for actors, and anybody want to help out? And I was like, my friend, I was like, that'd be so cool. Like, I could be an evil mermaid or something.
For a lot of years, we were known as the haunt that basically employed every kid in the block. And when you employed them? Well, employed them with pizza and candy, so you can't get better than that, right?
I've been working at McKinney Manor for 2 years. I love acting here. It's the best job I've ever had.
I was extremely shy, and then I think about a year I really got out of my shell, and I was throwing people on the ground, like throwing people in pools, screaming in their face. I've definitely come a long way since I first got here.
After school, I'd finish my homework, and then I'd be like, man, I wonder what I'm going to do for McKinney Manor this weekend.
The kids, it's just tough to reel them in sometimes.
It becomes addicting once you make that first scare out of something so simple, and then you can't stop.
Well, we had this one actress who, it was either her teacher or her neighbor, but she did not like it that she was here, and she went way overboard with how aggressive she was with her. And we had 10 dogs at that point, and we have a huge garbage can in the back for dog poop. And so she like took the lid off the dog poop, and she's like pushing her face down in the dog poop.
It's tricky to try to do something as extreme and controversial as McKinney Manor and keep it fresh every year. Because I'm not one to have something stagnant. I'm not one to just rest on my laurels. I'm all about upping the ante.
So we kind of, have our moments where we don't connect on exactly what his vision is and what I think it should be. I'm like, you can't do this. You cannot feed them this. Or what if somebody's allergic to this? And we have a lot of discussions and disagreements about it. But eventually we come to a point. But it's stressful to go from his vision to what can actually happen.
I need people that really step up to the plate and not be afraid to pick people up, body slam them.
You're clearly violating people. When you grab somebody, you're assaulting them. When you're holding them against their will, it's restraint and kidnapping.
There's no sexual themes. There's no cussing. We're not degrading anybody like Blackout. You need to go the sexual route. You need to simulate rape and other really horrible things out there.
Emotional hurt, emotional scarring is like one thing that I think Blackout has cornered pretty decently. But we don't ever want to physically hurt somebody. Would you go through your own?
Of course not. Of course not. Because I have common sense.
Once we have certain ideas, we'll kind of throw each other through it. Chris and I were working really late one night, building the set. It's possible that we were drinking, and when I got out of the restroom, all of the lights were turned off. I remember this feeling being like, oh shit, something's about to happen. And I sort of was like, Chris, where are you? And out of nowhere, he just came charging at me. And like, as he got closer and closer, I was like, is that a fucking staple gun? And he just put it to my chest and started hammering the staple gun into my chest. I was screaming bloody murder. And then we were sort of like, here, let me do it to you. Wait, is it weirder to do it on your chest or weirder to do it on your hand? Oh my God, your hand. No. But that was exactly how that idea was started.
All the things that scare me is what I did with this haunt. So why would I ever go through this haunt? That would be stupid of me.
He is afraid of everything.
I hate creepy crawlies, man.
He's afraid of snails.
Stop!
You lose yourself in a haunt. When you come out, you're a puddle of mess.
What'd you think? What time did you get here this morning?
7:30 in the morning.
You waited like 11 hours.
Yes. I'll do it again. Are you gonna come back and see us again?
These guys are nuts. But he's making money, ain't he?
Actually, he doesn't make any money doing it.
Oh, really?
So the admission price for McKinney Manor is 4 cans of dog food?
Yeah, he charges 4 cans of dog food.
Oh, that's awesome. Who eats that?
Which will be donated to Operation Greyhound, which is a Greyhound Rescue Society, and that's where we got all of our Greyhound.
Russ has a full-time job in the day. He works for the Veterans of Foreign Wars. He's a service officer.
When I was getting out of the Marine Corps, I had to go down and file VA claims and things like that. I think we talked for like an hour and a half or 2 hours about the haunt, and then finally we talked for 15 minutes about what I was there for.
Russ is a wedding singer.
I'm not gonna do this.
I've been DJing here
Ranch. We have been doing weddings and events out here for 13 years. And we met Russ as he's the world's best disc jockey, a real entertainer.
What's he like just as a person?
He's wonderful. He's the warmest, cuddliest, big teddy bear you could ever hope to meet.
Every home haunter wants to go pro.
Do you want it to go pro as well?
I do. You know, we're 12 years on it. It's, you know, I don't want it to just fade away into nothing. I don't think that people realize how much money we lose every time.
Okay, basically,
how much money have you put into
Yeah, I'm happy that he kind of kept
taking
his
a
budget
break
this year. Normally he spends upwards over
on my
$1,000.
YouTube.
Throughout the years,
This is the only video I made today, so.
Oh, easily.
Oh, besides the coffee one, I think I made a coffee one this morning. Yeah, I took a picture this afternoon, whatever. But this is the only video I made today. Basically, I'm taking a break.
But still, I aimed low.
Right? Just a lot of crazy stuff that's going on out there. A lot of things I'm freaking out about in here. You know, like my health
We knew that Russ had
issues,
an avocation
breathing
of
out,
doing haunts
like
in his own backyard. And so
I don't know
he
what's
mentioned
going on,
to
but
us what about
I was freaking out.
bringing the
The
haunt
beer
out
makes you
to
fat
his
because
meadow.
when they
So
say
we decided
beer
to put a
gut,
haunt,
you know.
like, in the middle of our property,
But
where
once I laid down in bed, I didn't eat nothing, I didn't drink nothing. You know, I was going to eat some pork skins or drink a bottle of beer or something at home and some cheese like I normally do, but I put it all back and thought to myself, why am I doing this?
Room for the dogs and actually
Am I literally trying to
barbecues and
put myself at health risk, or
families have.
am I just not thinking right? But then after I lay here in the bed for a while, just watching this Netflix or whatever,
there's so much
really thinking deeply about life and health and everything that's going on, you know, things at my job, things here, and things about, you know, bills and all this stuff going on.
I bonded with Hans with my dad just by
it was just that
starting out trick or treating and always doing
I'm just
the
taking a
costume
break
thing,
today.
of course. And he'd have me up on his shoulders and stuff, and I'd be like
And
just
another
amazed,
issue was that I called up Bill, and
I just thought that was the
he said
coolest
something about the part.
thing ever.
Didn't get the part. The part is still on the truck. They didn't get the part off the truck. I don't know what's going on, but he says give him a call tomorrow morning. Well, I think I'm just going through depression.
Cars would be freaking out.
You know, I don't mind driving the car, but
as a Navy for 22 years, even on a ship,
would like to have my truck for winter. You know, 1 year at least.
I met Russ in
You know,
1977.
I'm not supposed to be driving that car in the snow because salt issues, and it's an old car.
I would go over to his house,
But
and he would sing to me on the
I
guitar.
wanted him to do
very romantic.
the transmission seal. I didn't check the transmission, but here's another thing
a little rascal, a little guy growing up.
got me all worried
I just
and
love
bothered. And,
to entertain.
Russ
you know, I
used to
got
sing
transmission
at,
leak, you know.
restaurants up in Fullerton, and his dad and his mom came up with the name
I'm
for
just
his
taking a break
company
today,
and would
okay?
make posters for the restaurants. And
what was the name for the company?
Musical Excitement with Russ.
So yeah, my question
is,
can beer make you fat?
He and his dad.
Then I was thinking, well, maybe I should start buying alcohol. But is alcohol really an option of losing weight? So, YouTube, Carl Kish, subscribe. It's chill time. Love you guys. See you later.